Hello, Bingus. I'm not Chondo. April Fools. So it is that time of the year again. If you're a Minecraft fan, you know that there's always some kind of big extravaganza for April Fool's Day, and that's typically from Mojang officially making a new experimental version of the game that's typically playing off of a joke of some sort or just doing things that they said they never would. But today we're actually not doing Mojang's official April Fool's versions. Instead, we're playing a number of versions that were released on the Betacraft launcher by a group of people, I'm assuming all of whom are in the Discord for Omniarchive, which is a group of people who archive older versions of the game. And the whole bit for this was that, specific people just got to make their own little April Fool's versions for different versions of Minecraft throughout history. So as you can see, this one says beta 1.7.3, and this is actually one of the versions we're playing today. And I will say this is not a blind reaction because a lot of these were not immediate things. So on April Fool's Day, this is actually the second, I had to go and test all these, make sure they're working, and take notes and see what was going on, right? So to get us started on this one, this is the canon explanation they have for this version on the Discord. Quote unquote, "This is a brand new, previously unknown development build from the beta 1.8 development period, from when Mojang was temporarily considering adding the ability to go into space and visit other celestial bodies such as the moon." Now, there's a little bit more to that, but I figured I'd save it for to be a bit of a surprise. But yeah, most of this is just a regular version of beta 1.7.3. As far as I know, there's no fancy settings or anything. The controls are all normal. So you see that I have this pillar, and we're actually going to go up it. And I'm not going to cut this because I want you to see every bit of what happens, maybe even in F5 mode. Okay, it feels really slow when we go like this, but just trust me, something pretty neat happens. Whoop! Alrighty, and we are on the moon. All of this stuff is moon dust. I don't have a pickaxe on me to mine it, but this is moonstone. And this, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the music here. Whoopsies. This is nothing? No, this is cheese. I'm assuming it heals you. It just does not have a name. Originally, I thought this was maybe a new resource to make tools with or something because it looks like an ingot, but then I thought about it a little bit. And yeah, I just assumed that it is indeed cheese. And to show that off, I can try to take some fall damage. Or maybe not. It might be totally impossible with the lower gravity. Yeah, I'm not taking fall damage. I believe it heals a heart and a half, because there were some scenarios where I did have to heal, which hopefully I'll show in just a second when this turns to nighttime. Okay, and as we can see, the sun is setting and the earth is rising. And I'm not sure if any monsters spawn on the moon, but sure enough, we are about to find out. That's also why I'm kind of retreating to what I know to be my safe space here. Oh yeah, okay. It seems to it seems to have the same spawns as Mars. Yeah. So a lot of creepers, and a certain somebody down there. It's a little hostile. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Okay, creepers also get increased gravity, or lowered gravity. Did not realize that. I guess it stands to reason. Anyway, we are now on Mars. And to be honest with you, the spawns are the same. And I would like to show you what's going on here. I just took fall damage from... What? Hold on. Yeah, Mars is... I'm not going to lie. It's... From what I could tell, there's not a ton going on here. There's frozen lakes, which is pretty neat. And again, there's the same spawns of notch creatures and creepers. And if you're wondering, you can see them spawning in slightly and then despawning. Notch, I think, just attacks like a zombie pretty much, and he drops golden blocks, which I actually found pretty interesting because he has a drop in the game, in I think any edition or version of Minecraft where if a player has the name Notch, it drops an apple. But I don't know, they changed it for this, which is just interesting. I'm honestly, I don't know why, because for a second I thought it was to make like surviving on these planets a little easier, but there's no like sticks or anything, and Mars doesn't have any food source, so I'm not sure. And there's one more thing I just wanted to show you about Mars very quickly, if I can find it. All right, here's some. Yeah, redstone ore sometimes generates on Mars. And that's about as much as I could find for both the moon and Mars. And if you're wondering, I did have a very large staircase built, but I lost it. If you go into the sky here, you make your way back to Earth, and you find out that these planets, or I guess celestial bodies, have a bit of a nether effect to them. In the nether, it's 1 block of distance is 8 blocks traveled in the overworld, and on these, it's another similar thing, but I don't know enough about them to tell you if it's an 8 block distance. You know what? You get it. On to the next one. Okay, so this one's pretty interesting, but let me get into the story behind it first before I actually play it, because, well, I think you'll see. Quote unquote from the Discord again, this version was described as a very early development version of Beta 1.8, originally titled Beta 1.7.10. It added mip mapping, a new mob called the Nuker, and asbestos, which is known to have been added multiple times during Minecraft's development. The full screen feature got broken in this version, causing Notch to compile a build and revert all the changes. He never implemented them again. The whole don't full screen thing, which is also being reflected on the game, is a lie. Full screen works just fine. And not to ruin the little surprise that's waiting for you if you don't use full screen, I don't know if something specific triggers it, but if you're not in full screen with this version, it opens up your web browser and creates many tabs, all of the same YouTube page, which is, it just did it to me. It just did it to me. There's like 40 tabs of base boosted gummy bear. I was in full screen. Why did it do that? Okay, anyway, I'm going to be quick about displaying this one because apparently there's no way to be safe from it. Also, this one's really loud, so it's probably just going to be like permanently turned down in the video, and probably very laggy. Just a fair forewarning. I won't spend a ton of time on this one because there doesn't seem like there's a ton to it, and I apologize if there is, but it's kind of hard to figure out if there is or not, and you'll see why. All right, so my game is paused. I'm still getting this item, which is asbestos, and I don't even really know how to talk about this one. You want to see my player model? It's very funny. That's not right. Oh, okay, whenever you use asbestos, it does that, and it is an instant mine block. There's big trees, and you can do this. There's also something that makes big explosions, and I'm assuming that's the Nuker mob, which is Steve there. But I haven't actually seen it happen real time. Oh, it got quiet there for a minute. Maybe I should die more often. I haven't seen it happen real time, but I'm assuming they make these very large explosions. I can't say much more about this version. don't know. What do you want from me here? You can make a house in the asbestos if you want. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, item rendering looks like like the shadows. What? Okay. I have not seen that happen before. To be totally honest, is it if you drop a? I don't know. You can. Oh, I was gonna say you can try and damage them, but the game is processing so many things that none of your actions really register, like at all, as far as I can tell. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much to say about this one. Give it a shot if you want. Just make sure your sound is turned down. Yeah. On to the next one. Alrighty, again to the Discord message with this version. This version is a pre-re-upload of inredev 420. After optimizing terrain generation, Notch wanted to add flowers back into world generation. He succeeded in this. However, he also added in an Easter egg, where if you played the game on April 20th, flowers would be replaced with shrubs that players could burn to feel special effects. This one is a little interesting. This is the only world that I made in this one. I don't know why, but it just comes preloaded with 4 others, which I originally thought was to do with like maybe local memory, like maybe there were worlds stored in another location. But Betacraft is pretty good about making instances that have their own saves and stuff. And I installed this one like 2 or 3 times because it kept crashing. And every time it came with these worlds. So let's just make a new one here. All right. You're going to notice it looks relatively normal, I'd say, for inredev, with maybe a larger focus on generating the large oak trees instead of the regular size. Actually, yeah, the regular size has been replaced in its entirety, I believe, with these shrub-looking ones. And if we look around for a moment, we will find these shrubs. Now, to be honest with you, I could not find a way to do this like consistently. Okay, what I'm about to show you has no resemblance to any real-world activity, and I have no idea what this may or may not be a reference to. So you can light a fire around them. You can light them on fire. What I found to work the best, I think, is digging a block under. And then I hope this happens instantly because it's like it's pretty subtle initially. So just watch closely. It didn't happen. Okay, wait, it's happening. Okay, it's very subtle. And I couldn't figure out how to make it any stronger. But if you just watch closely, I'm going to stand totally still for a minute. If you can't notice it, watch the edges of the screen. There's like a pulsating effect. And if you go into F5, you can see your player kind of start to, maybe not be super tethered. And if you look in your inventory screen, you can see the same, where he's not quite centered, and things are just a little odd.
There's not as near how wired that ass out. But other than that, I told you did that. They breathe still. Yeah. Yeah, they think banning.
So yeah, I've exhausted my flint and steel, and things definitely don't look normal, but I don't know how to make them look more odd. Well, maybe that's part of it. Yeah, I mean, I'm floating now. As far as I know, that's the only feature in this one. And it happens to the other mobs as well. But they're just kind of like, they're just not quite on the ground. I think he's speaking to me. On to the next one. All right, our next one here is Minecraft 1.0.0.0. This one was released right after the previous one, since they both contain things you really should breathe into your lungs. This is an early attempt at merging the Java and Bedrock codebase. based off Java 1.0.0. It features Java's significant gameplay and Bedrock's significant plastic textures. It also messes with the water rendering. One new feature it adds is once again the asbestos block. Notch really wanted that naturally occurring, cancer-causing fibrous silicate mineral in the game. Off the bat, I don't know if I'm missing out on a bit or something here. Bedrock does not have plastic textures. It has the same textures, which, like, maybe it's the UI they're referring to. I'm not sure, because that is the first thing I notice here, as well as a super modern splash text and Mojang AI. To be honest with you, and I don't want to sound rude with this because these are like community projects, but I did not notice a ton going on with this one, except for leaves, of course, being asbestos, which is pretty interesting. Originally, I thought that it literally had, like, it was just the block ID for leaves, but leaves are still here. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Grass blocks also have like a face. For some reason, wooden planks, or wood and wooden planks, seem to be the only texture that adheres to this plastic rule. I'm not sure. I really feel like I'm missing out on a bit here. And the water rendering thing is specifically with the water blending between biomes. And I guess it also does it for here. I don't think there's any biome blending settings. I love that they're sticking with the asbestos trend, and I hope that one day we can see asbestos in the real game as was intended many, many years ago. On to the next one. Alrighty, on to the Discord message for this next version. Since Alpha 1.2 has been buggy, Notch decided to release one more version of Alpha 1.2 in order to iron out all the bugs. However, upon release, many players complained about the extremely buggy nature of the version, including broken physics, graphics, and logic. It was quickly removed from the servers, and the game reverted back to Alpha version 1.2.6. All changes in Alpha 1.2.7 were reverted, as Notch went on to work on Beta 1.0. This is one of my favorites that are in this little pack. And you're going to notice... you're going to notice pretty suddenly that things are different here. For some reason, and it's really hard to not have the game lag with this, leaves have been made to fall as falling sand entities and then immediately explode upon hitting the ground. And also, apples have been made to stack, which is pretty useful. As you can see through the very choppy frames, this chicken was chasing me. All right, you can see this sheep is chasing... Oh, all right, I apologize. I really can't do much more to make this run better. That's interesting. If you switch to fast graphics, it removes the little isometric item drops, which I did not know about. So yeah, you'll have to forgive me for the... Well, it says it's running at 60 frames a second. It's not. It's not. That's also really cool. That there's a little more to this than I thought. The fast rendering also changes water rendering to be level with the ground. But you'll see that passive mobs are not happy with me. They damage me. Quit it. Quit it. Quit it, you. Just stop. Stop right now. I fight back. I fight back. I fight back. Oh, and you can see my health has dropped below 0, but perished I have not. But back I have been knocked. So I've described this one as Smash Bros. Physics. And before I get into the specifics of that, you'll notice that also jumping forward just speeds you up a little bit. And again, there's just some really interesting fast quality quirks on this one. But as you take more damage, you get knocked back farther and farther, which is a really interesting mechanic. And you'll see how it pays off once I take a little more damage from these guys. And this also seemingly applies to their health and knockback as well, because... All right. This is where you have to be a little careful about this version, because I want to show this off, but getting knocked in the water is pretty rough because it takes a minute to get back. All right, it's starting to get pretty rambunctious. There's a lot of knockback going on here, and as I continue to get knocked to these other areas, you can see just how much the explosive leaves have decimated this land over here. All right. Oh, this might be it. It's not. Okay, one more time. Let's go. I don't know. I just think that's really neat. This is such an interesting concept that they've stuck to for this one. And I almost wonder if you can like damage stack by just like drowning. Well, I stepped away for a second to see if I would drown, and the game just crashed. So I'm going to take that as a no. Let's get on to the next one. Why don't we? All right, that last one was probably my favorite out of this whole bunch, just because I had the most fun messing around in it. But we're going to move on to our next one here, and going straight to the Discord message. Here's a very rare and interesting one. A dev build of Alpha 1.1.1 with biomes and without the gray screen bug. It was once accidentally published for about 30 seconds, making this version the most rarest amongst others. The build features strange new world generation, which would actually be the foundation for the adventure update. Another strange feature is a seemingly out-of-character password screen, which is actually the first thing we are going to get into here, because I honestly think that these the passwords are going to have effects that if I load into the worlds, you're going to already see them since this isn't a new installation. Anyway, the passwords are seemingly pretty random, so let me just type a couple in here. Shredder will mess up your chunk generation, which you are likely to see. For some reason, Wario's Woods does this. I don't know what this is. This one is going to generate a pretty interesting structure in our world everywhere. You'll see that. If you type in Thomas, that disables multiplayer. That one changes the title screen. Again, I feel like there's an inside joke that I'm not exactly privy to. And I think lastly, we have this one, which removes the abdomen from spiders. So here we can see the fruits of our labor. I don't know what you want me to say about this one. It says an iconic gold block structure, which is a man and possibly every part of a man. I don't know what it's iconic from. I feel like I should, but I don't. Shredder is the seed, or the password that messed up the generation of the world and made all this stuff happen. And like the main feature here that was at least disclosed in the Discord message is the addition of biomes to alpha. I'm pretty sure biomes are in alpha, maybe just not this version typically. But you can see there's there's spruce trees, but with the classic neon oak leaves, and over there it looks like it may be a swamp tree with the drooping leaves instead of the vines. And as far as I could tell, that's it for this version. A lot of these do have admittedly pretty cool feats of reverse engineering, or it's not at all the right term. A lot of these do have some pretty cool feats of coding, I guess, programming, like, again, adding these biomes in. Again, I may not understand the specific reference or difficulty associated with that, but it is really interesting. Really, all of these are interesting on their own right. I've tried to mod old versions of Minecraft, and it's not easy. I can tell you that. There's not a lot of documentation of it online, and even getting to the point of being able to code it and create these mods and patches it's not easy. So I hope this video doesn't come off as me trying to dunk on these or anything. These are celebrations of a community, of a very devoted community at that, of people who are dedicated these old versions of Minecraft to the point where they'll do stuff like this and just have fun with it, and again continue to develop and sustain that community. It's not like an easy feat at all, and I don't know, this kind of stuff makes me pretty happy, albeit if some of these are a little sillier than others. As far as I can tell, that's all there is for this one. Let's move on to the next one. All right, this next one is another one of my favorites, so let's go ahead and read that Discord message. This next build is not really too interesting as far as we can tell, and is just a development build from the Alpha 1.0.13 era during the development of music discs. We can also see some changes to the cave generation code and height limits. Perhaps investigation underground in-game may determine exactly what these changes mean in terms of gameplay. Either way, having this version bit perfectly recreated and saved in the archive is very useful. So from that description, this one is not talked up a lot, but it's got some pretty cool stuff going on under the hood, and we're gonna get into that. So as they said in the Discord message, this is on the surface at least, it appears to be a pretty standard build of Minecraft Alpha. So to get us started, we are going to collect some wood and just get some resources. And I should mention, while we're here, I'm actually playing this one on peaceful mode. A little for the sake of just making some parts easier, and also just because I think it kind of makes it a little more immersive. I don't want to say too much without spoiling it. All right, we have some simple gear, and I'm actually going to go right here to get some coal because, brother, it is going to get dark. All right. I'm going to start venturing into the cave. Everything's normal so far. All right. I'm not gonna lie, I knew what to expect. That caught me very off guard. The game chugged for a second. I didn't know what was going on. So yeah, the scary music disc starts playing at low Y levels, or maybe something to do with the cave itself, and it just gets louder and louder. And you'll notice that the torches have gotten dimmer, and the caves seemingly just keep going. And you can also hear so we may have found the source of our music here. I'm gonna be real, I haven't heard a lot of these noises, so I'm kind of taking this all in for the first time again. Yeah, there. Oh, yeah. I don't want to seem like I'm easily frightened, but yeah, no, this caught me a little off guard even after I knew what to expect. Just a lot of noises, many of which I really feel like I have not heard before in the music discs, and I hear that hum again, as if we're approaching another jukebox. Oh, I can't even get this to the place where I want it to. I hear it, but I don't. All right. Freaky. Not much to say here. Oh, there's another one. Okay. So so I think the worlds go a lot lower than they typically do in alpha, because I really feel like we would have typically hit Bedrock by now. I'm right-clicking here. I'll let you hear. There is not... There's no disk in here. And as far as I know, you can't put one in. Should I break it? Do you think I should break it? Everyone call 1-800-BINGUS and let me know whether or not I should break that jukebox. What secrets may lie within? Do you want to find out? I don't know. I'm a little frightened too. But if you want to find out, I legally have to. Yeah, the sound design here is really good. It does a very good job of adding on to what these music discs kind of established, and making them a little more creepy overall. Yeah, I don't know, I'm a big fan of this one. And I will let you know that when we break this jukebox, it's going to end, and there's going to be a loud noise. Are you ready? And then the game goes bye-bye. So yeah, I'm a really big fan of that one. I really love the atmosphere they were able to pull off with that. I think it does a really good job. I think some people may not like the jump scare. You know, that's fine. I get it. But the actual just experience of being down there, especially when you're on peaceful mode and nothing else is making any noise and you just hear everything around you. I think they did a great job on that one. I'm a big fan. I think that Minecraft Alpha kind of felt like that for a lot of people, just very creepy and unsettling. I think they did a really good job. I like that one a lot. Let's move on to the next one. All right, this is actually based off of a release version of Minecraft, which is kind of like the 1.0.0.0 one we had. Let's jump into the Discord message. This is a version based off release 1.2.3, when Notch briefly wanted to reintroduce the inredev limited world generation. It is unknown why he scrapped this. It would be such a good feature. So yeah, this one is pretty interesting. It seems at first to literally be just that, the limited worlds of inredev, which if you fly up, you can pretty easily see it. And it also has inredev's world generation with these very sharp cliffs, and just strange changes in elevation and these deep rivers. And as you go out, you can see, sure enough, it has the water void to mark the end of the world. And as you try to push against it, see if... Oh yeah, they also added in the flailing arms, which is pretty neat. As you push against it, you can see I slow down, and eventually I will get launched the other direction. This is me with no hands on the keyboard. Yeah, so it pushes you back into the world, and I find this stuff pretty interesting. Minecraft has gone through a lot of variations in its world generation, and it's cool to see it when, you know, something like this where it's one version's world generation and even its limitations in a totally different version of the game. And also I'm showing this because it was my first thought. You cannot ender pearl out of here. Like, listen. That is my right click button. There's my left click button if you want that too. It's not happening. And you actually, you can't ender pearl at all, which is pretty interesting. I assume it's mostly just because of this. It seems as though they disabled it, which I'm led to believe a little more because I can't remember if this was in the regular version of this Minecraft version, but the ender pearl sprite is just a little off kilter in its texture, and you can see that pretty easily when you compare it to something like the Eye of Ender, which also just doesn't work. So yeah, a pretty interesting little feature, but it gets infinitely more interesting when you go into your world settings, and you can see here that it has all of, if not more in some cases, the customization settings for world generation that some versions of inredev had. So you can, you know, change all this stuff. Let me do, okay, this should be pretty interesting here. Gamers, it crashed, which I'm actually pretty surprised about. That I did that exact same thing in another world, and it did not crash. We're gonna try that again because I want to show it off. All right, it worked just fine that time around, and this is the kind of generation that I really like, the floating islands. This was a feature in some of the older versions, and yeah, I just love it. I think this kind of stuff would make for a pretty interesting survival playthrough. And I honestly wish that the real game had some of this, because this is just interesting, and it's so nice to have some kind of variety. You think about like a lot of custom maps and game modes, and like almost all of them at one point or another feature like floating islands, because they're interesting, they're cool. People like to, see things that couldn't happen in the real world, and they're mystical. They don't have any explanation behind them. Yeah, but with all these world customization settings, you can do some pretty interesting stuff. And I honestly hope one day that these kind of customization features make their way back into the real game. It doesn't have to be the world limit. But I don't know, just let people have fun with the way their world is generated. I want to say that man, it's been so long since I played like modern Java. But there was a generation feature that was kind of similar to this, although you had to, it was a lot more intricate. And I think that maybe turned a little people, and I think that might have turned people off from it a little bit. Because they had this like real world generation feature where you could change the size of some like ore veins or like gravel spawns. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's still in the game, because there was also the super flat customization where you could adjust the levels, or like the Y levels, and what generates per Y level, the depth of them, what structures. One of those got removed, right? If I'm wrong on that, I'm gonna feel a little crazy. But one of those got removed, right? If it didn't, let me live in this world for a little bit, because it strengthens my point. I feel like it opens the door to a lot of cool challenge runs that could help a lot of people maybe stay interested in the game a little more. Again, that's running off the notion that it did get removed from the game. If it didn't, just ignore the fact that it didn't, and go ahead and just agree with me. Say that I'm right, please. Let's get on to the next one. All right, I have to pause this one because there's no title screen. It loads you directly into this window that you actually cannot full screen. So this one's going to look a lot lower resolution. Sorry about that. As far as I can tell, there's no way to fix that, and F11 does not work. But let's go ahead and read that Discord message. As an attempt of reviving Legend of the Chambered, Notch attempts to port the game to Minecraft indev. This was a private version that he posted about once on the Word of Notch, but since then, all evidence of this version existing has been erased. Items have been given functionality in this version, and they can be found dropped randomly across the level. Here's a bit-perfect recreation of the version in 2010-0101. This one, I think, is one of the most ambitious, I guess you could say, because you'll notice I actually spawned on top of everything here. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of hostile mobs, and they are, I want to say Rana? Is that this mob's name? From some of the earliest Minecraft days when they had an artist on there who had a very distinct style, but one that ultimately did not match some of the other stuff going on in the Minecraft world. Also, there is no sound. Again, I don't know how to fix that. Yeah, upon dying, you can generate a new level, or you can quit. It's kind of like hardcore. But yeah, these guys... Oh, I just found armor? Hold on. These guys have definitely... They're definitely not unknown in the Minecraft community. They're pretty emblematic of a certain period of Minecraft's life that you don't see represented much. So as much as them being entities that try to attack you, they are also your little guy there. This is new to me. I actually did not know there was armor in this. I mostly just knew about torches, which provide very little light and, as far as I know, do not stop mob spawns, and TNT, which works, but not quickly enough for me. So as we walk around on the actual ground level of this, you can see there's like a new stone tiles kind of block. And I like this texture. They did a good job of making it kind of fit that early Minecraft aesthetic. Because as far as I know, this is not a texture brought from anything else. When I played this yesterday, they were not spawning on the top here. This was like my one safe space. So the fact that they're up here kind of leaves me without many options to just sit and talk for a minute. Yeah, I love the texture work there. And there's it's just kind of like little labyrinths. I'm probably going to generate a new world here in a minute. While we're at it, there is not much depth to this world. It's just a void. The item physics are pretty interesting. They don't rotate. They just kind of plop on the ground, which I want to say is exclusive to this. I do not believe that is something that happens in the original version. But yeah, you get these little labyrinths that sometimes have tunnels, and I presume they also have items every now and then. Now, you'll also notice that there's an arrows counter. I have no idea how to shoot arrows. Maybe there's a bow item that can drop on the ground, but there were some other versions where just pressing tab shot arrows. Yeah, so it's pretty hard to survive in this one. You don't deal a lot of damage, at least without items that, again, are said to be dropping on the ground, but not too sure at what frequency. But yeah, as you can see, torches provide very little light. I think you can really only notice it when you're, like in one of these little tunnel areas here. These are the kind of like retro mods that I really like with Minecraft, where they just like completely change everything about the game. Of course, I love stuff like Better Than Adventure and Reindev that kind of try to enhance the playstyle already present. But when it's stuff like this, I just get very interested, because this to me is more so looking at Minecraft as like a game engine rather than a game in and of itself. Admittedly, this one definitely shares some similarities with the, I want to say, classic version it's based off of. I want to say it's a classic version. As it stands, I have not found many items in this one, which I feel like there's supposed to be more of them that would kind of change the way that you play this. And it looks like they drop something, right? But every time I try to go pick it up, it's nothing. Unless it maybe increases your score, like a coin or something, because I noticed I didn't get any points for just killing them. Let's see. Can I? Okay, wait. Oh, okay, cool. I got a little apple or a little cherry that restored some of my health, and I got 100 points from maybe a little coin. Yeah. So this one is pretty cool. It's riffing off of some of Notch's older projects, which, like in 99% of them, were in some form or another classic dungeon-based RPGs. So just very interesting to see this kind of thing. We are on to our next one. All right, this one also just kind of spawns you into the game, but you actually can full screen it. So let's get into that Discord message. During early June 2010, indev players were worried about the future of their beloved indev levels, and were worried that Notch wouldn't make do on his promise to add a converter to infdev. Notch decided to assure them that he would make a converter and still supports indev by releasing another update to it. He then went on to add a few features to it, some of which wouldn't be seen by the public until alpha, others never. However, he quickly got sidetracked and turned it into his favorite classic/indev map with crossbow fights. In the end, he decided to say F you to the indev players, forcing them to use third-party converters and never reintroducing beloved indev features. That's one of the That's one of the stranger backstories on this. But yeah, this one is a city map running in, well, I guess in dev. Wouldn't it be? I'm like rereading the message now because I'm trying to keep to the canon. This would, okay, no, this is the in dev version that is supposed to have the world converter. Anyway, it is a very large city map that I believe was not made for this project. At least in the canon, it says this is like a pre-existing city map. That scared me so bad. It's so loud. Yeah, as you can see, there's a bunch of NPCs that just have the sieve skin, and if you get near them, oop, oop, oop. All right, he's really trying to shoot me, but I think he's like kind of stuck in the wall. So yeah, you can shoot him, or you can use the secondary bow, which lowers your FOV, and you can snipe them. This has an increased reload time compared to the no reload time of the other bows. And typically, I'm not sure if that one did, typically these guys drop arrows. There we go. So you can see my score counter go up with each one of these guys that I take down. And yeah, this basically just takes Minecraft in dev and turns it into a kind of like a deathmatch shooter. The most interesting feature of this one is for sure this crossbow type thing that's supposed to be like a scoped bow. It's pretty satisfying to use when you hit your shots, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a little motion sickness inducing. That change in FOV is pretty sharp, and sometimes if you're scrolling, you can like accidentally kind of do that, which you know, it's just it's a little rough. A little rough on the old eyeballs. Unless my eyeballs are just bad, which, you know, that very well could be the case. Yeah, when you get sniped, you get this message. So aside from this just being a kind of, just a little like shooter game, this map is pretty interesting. Like I said, I think this was made, like years ago, presumably in the actual non-April Fool's classic / in-dev phase. And it's a pretty cool one. There's a lot of really neat places to explore. And I'm remembering something now. If I can find this area, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be right here. There we go. I had to turn the music on. So there is a music in this one, but like not how you'd expect it. You can see as I walk away. Here, let me try. Okay, the difficulty is locked. I'm gonna turn sound off so you can just hear the music. So you can kind of use sound to find the area in the map that the music is playing from, which is, as far as I know, unlike any other Minecraft version. Okay, now I feel like I'm lying to you, but I promise there was a certain area of the map. Oh, yeah, no, there was definitely a certain area of the map that I was playing on the last time I booted this one up, where the music just totally faded out. Like, as if it was coming from a jukebox instead of just how music normally is in Minecraft. But yeah, right now I feel like a liar. It's just staying the same level. This is such a small detail, but now I feel like I have to prove myself right on it. Okay, I'm right. Listen, it's not here. And then I go over here. I would never lie to you. Never. No one can turn me into a liar. I will not be one. So yeah, this just ends up being a nice walk through a cool city map. A cool early Minecraft city map too, which has a very distinct aesthetic. With a pretty simple gameplay feature that, while pretty rudimentary, you can definitely kind of get stuck doing it because it's very simple inputs, and it can be pretty satisfying to know that you're doing good at something. So yeah, with that being said, I'll probably be sniped here in just a moment. Or not. We can move on to the next one, which today is our last one. Alright, this one is pretty interesting, and off the bat you may notice that. But before we get into the specifics, let's read that Discord message. Our latest find produced by SLM is an absolutely incredible one that is almost hard to believe. But since our system is designed to perfectly reproduce the outputs of Notch's work in 2009, even incorporating his DNA, we can trust that this is something Notch himself produced. It seems that in the first few days of Minecraft's development, Notch experimented with adding a lot of features to the game, many of which later returned even years later down the line after they had been scrapped. Every bit of source code and binary from this phase of development was lost before anyone else had seen it, until now. This release is a development build from the height of this and contains gameplay elements unseen in any other developmental build. We hope you enjoy this find and the historical significance of rediscovering it. This version also sometimes enables buttons which can be clicked, which can cause the player to hallucinate audio-visual experiences? Gonna be honest, I don't remember that last part at all. So what you're looking at is interesting, right? It says Minecraft 1.20 for some reason. I don't know why. All these zeros in this font are replaced with O's. That's why it looks just a little weird, which you can also see in the options menu, which has sound 100%. You see the O's and they're not the zeros, and FOV 6000%, which I'm not even sure what, I don't know. And again, you see the password screen here, which I did enter a password the last time I played this, and I hope that it did not stay in, because it was pretty, you'll see. I just hope I can experience it normally to show you guys initially. So we're going to make a survival world here. Not totally sure what that says, as it is obscured. But warning, worlds don't save, make every second count. The reason worlds don't save is because this is actually a very early version of Minecraft, made to look like anything but all right, I don't know why that was the default there, but here we are, and man, this is weird. The first note I took of this, because I have like a little Google Docs, is just a bullet point that says, haha, this one is cool. Because, yeah, it is. What is going on here? So I have an inventory here, and just in case you want to play this one, know that the left click and right click functionality is actually reversed. And while this is a survival mode, you can't actually see the blocks in your hotbar. Rest assured that you cannot build without having blocks, though, which, you know, you can see. And this is so early of a version that you can very easily like clip yourself into blocks. Now, what's going on here is a complete overhaul of, that was a strange noise, a complete overhaul of this very early version's textures and world generation and sound. And like really weird sound too. I didn't realize this when I was playing it originally. The cows sound absolutely terrifying. But yeah, you get these, you get the big caves from the Cave and Cliffs update, and well, even the cliffs somewhat. Sometimes they generate very sharp and jagged, but it's still interesting to see without a doubt. Now you can die in this one, which I'll go ahead and show you. Yeah, and you have the option again to generate a new level or just respawn. Wow, I didn't go in the water either. It's so interesting. I guess the swimming sounds are digging sounds. Swimming feels pretty accurate to the real game, but movement otherwise is a lot quicker, which may be done to simulate sprinting. But yeah, there's view bobbing. There's a lot of settings that this version did not have, even though it's just a few, mainly the FOV one. So theoretically, you can play a pretty competent version of Minecraft in this. Also, I don't know why, but the block you have when you have no blocks in your first slot is fire. I haven't actually tested to see if it can burn anything though. Oh, it sure can. Neat. Yeah, these worlds are limited, so you definitely don't see all they have to offer. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and make a new world to show you. This time around, I'm actually gonna make it in creative, which basically just disables damage. I actually don't think there's any other difference. Actually, no, I lied. You get a few blocks in your hotbar by default. So something about this world is definitely making the game run a fair bit worse, but you can see the variety that it has in these worlds. This is like a beach biome, and while it isn't totally accurate to the new versions, like there's a lot of sand like jutting out all over the place, looking at those mountains, you can pretty clearly tell that this is based off a newer version of the game. I'll probably generate a few more worlds to show you just the variety on display here, but first I need to do something very important. Oh, also there's an F5 mode, which is, again, just, it's so interesting to see that built into this version of the game. It's just, it almost seems like an impossible feat. So many things probably had to be reconstructed from like almost nothing. And there we go. Falling through the ground reveals that there is another biome. And am I wrong in assuming this is like very close generation to the overworld biome we just saw? And then falling from the nether puts you back in the nether again, which is also like really robust with features. Spiders and creepers who will explode, but the explosion pattern is a little more basic. And there are also skeletons that shoot you with arrows, despite the fact that they actually aren't carrying bows. Let me go over to one and show you real quick, because they also use the bow texture that has the purple stick in the middle that is seen in some of these early versions. Now I am going to die. I wonder if I can... I don't know if pillaring back up leads you to the overworld, but we are going to find out. I really expected something to happen by now. The height limit here must be crazy. Yeah, this is the height limit. Wow. I'm honestly not sure how to get back up to the overworld. Maybe if you are in survival, you can like die to get sent back. But for this, I am not sure. So we're going to make a new level here. All right, and again, we're just seeing this like incredibly varied generation with this sandy cliffs biome here, which it's just, to me, it's so interesting because it's not something that existed in this original version of the game, and it's not something that really exists in the version of the game as we know it today. So it's this weird like amalgamation that is, to me, I just can't stop looking at it. And like combining it with like the what resemble the cave game tech test skies, man, it's so cool. All right, this one spawned me in the ocean, but yes, this is what I wanted to show you. They even added cherry trees, which are perhaps one of the most emblematic features of modern Minecraft as we know it today. So it's pretty cool to see them here. Yeah, just some weird generation that, like, you see this almost look like there's a... It almost looks like there's a cave right here, but then the islands themselves have that very sharp early Minecraft like drop off. I could do this probably forever. These worlds are just so interesting, and playing through them, it really doesn't feel like Minecraft. It almost feels like something like I haven't done a ton of research on it, but Mindtest, which is like a kind of, I believe, an open source recreation. Well, not a recreation, a very heavily Minecraft inspired game engine that people can like replicate certain Minecraft versions in, but they never really feel quite right. And this is a lot like that. It's just it's so alien while being, it should be very familiar with, like a bunch of players of both older and newer versions, but it ends up being so very strange. Also, going into the password screen, I'll check my notes here really quick, but the only code that I could make work was, again, Wario's Woods, which turns you into a giant, which you can see in F5, and constantly drops cooked pork chops / steak, just everywhere. You get an increased jump, and I'm not actually sure if you can, turn it off. Maybe if you go back in. I just realized I just made a new world, so I probably wouldn't even be able to test it. Was I wrong in thinking there was like another button here just a moment ago? I'll have to do like a replay on that, but maybe that's the button they were talking about to replicate audio visual hallucinogenic effects, because I haven't seen anything like that in this one. But with how much everything else has been like committed to here, I would love to see just anything else that this one has to offer. It's just so very interesting. Oh, dude, I missed it. Oh no. I am going to lose my mind looking for this. Okay, I'm losing my mind a little bit. I have spent probably 5 full minutes just going back and forth between these two. It has been a while. But with that, we're actually bringing things to a close here. I know I mentioned it while covering another one of the versions, but this is honestly such an insanely cool project for this community to come together and create. I'm going to show up on screen right now. The Discord server posted the credits for everyone who made every one of these versions, and just a huge thank you to them. This would not happen without this just incredible support from the community and developers within the community and creators within the community. Looking at the credits, I recognize a few of these names as developers of other projects that I've played in the past, so it's really cool to see it all kind of come together like that. It's cool to recognize names and for these people to be so prominent in the community. And I don't know, I feel like I'm just spouting a bunch of nonsense, but it's because this kind of thing makes me really happy, and it's a little hard to talk through that, at least elegantly for me. Also, I totally glossed over, and this was a mistake, I'll just admit it. I glossed over the backstory that kind of ties all these versions together. So I'm going to read some parts of that. Hello all, we have some big news to share with you regarding the future of Minecraft Archival on this fine day of April the 1st. For 3 months, we've been hard at work behind the scenes, building something truly revolutionary, something that will change the Minecraft archival scene forever. As soon as we came up with the idea, we knew we had a hit on our hands. So we poured in countless hours of R&D, and today, we finally have the pleasure of showing our creation to the world. Introducing the Spaghetti Language Model, our new AI model made for solving the problem of Minecraft archival. And there's a lot of text here, including references to Notch DNA in restrooms. But the gist of it is that the story behind all of these is that they were recreated lost versions of Minecraft by an AI program that we would come to find out was actually just hallucinating large portions of the code, which I think is such a perfect way to kind of tie all this stuff together. Minecraft version archival in and of itself is kind of a big concern for a lot of people, which is why places like the Omniarchive exist. Whether it's versions that are just not listed on official sources like the Minecraft launcher, or ones that were only up for a short while and are completely lost, there's some releases of Minecraft that are just unplayable. And sure, a lot of the differences in those versions might be minute, but there's no telling what discoveries can be made about the history and inner workings of Minecraft as a game, and understanding those helps us understand its path to where it is now. So just a huge shout out to the Omniarchive server, and again, the community and creators within it. The Golden Age community is one that has grown a lot recently, but it's been very comforting to see that it hasn't really lost any of its connection within itself. Cool stuff like this is always happening. So if you aren't involved in some of these Discord servers like the Modification Station or Omniarchive or the Golden Age Minecraft Discord server or the subreddit, check them out. They're so cool. This is such an interesting facet of the Minecraft community and just any online community as a whole. Also, if you try to play multiplayer in this version, it opens a YouTube video, which is, of course, the Gummy Bear song. So to close off this video, I want to send a message to the people who've been watching my Better Than Adventure series. There was actually an April Fool's update for it, and I would have covered it in this video, but I feel like that'd probably be better suited as a Let's Play episode that can give more time to look into some of the changes that it made. There was also a reindev April Fool's update, which I would really love to cover, but I'm not sure if I had the place for it, because it also is very large in scale, and it kind of makes me wish that I had a reindev playthrough that I could just easily slide into covering it. But if you're interested in that reindev April Fool's update, which you should be, it's a fantastic project, I suggest going and checking out Snowman64's video of it. But to wrap us up here, thank you for watching this video, and thank you for your continued support not only of me and my channel, but the Golden Age community. I hope these videos do a good job of showing off some of the cooler projects, but in reality, I can't cover them all. So again, go check out some of those communities. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Bingus, and I'll admit it, it hurts to say, you've been Chondo. April Fools, it makes me very happy to say that you've been Chondo. Have yourself a fantastic day.